All right, we did the offense, keep, cut, or trade, and now it's time to whip over that defense. All right, welcome back to the One Bar and Lupagus Show. I'm One Bar with Lupagus, and we're going to whip through this defensive side of the ball and give our predictions as far as whether they keep, cut, or trade. Maybe not so much if we want them to, but our predictions.
Yeah, we already mentioned in the other video, this team has to find ways to cut some money, get some cap space, and there'd be maybe a lot of familiar names, a lot of love names that may be axed this offseason.
Yeah, we did the offensive side comments. People were a little upset about our moves, but you got to realize we're not going with our heart. We're going with our noggin and our parts.
Our parts. We're going with the parts.
Our mid-range parts. Let's take a quick. We're not going to talk about every single person. We're not going to talk about Miles Dorn, but we're going to talk about the big boys. So let's pull up the depth chart here.
Yeah, and let's just start with this top one. I mean, obviously we know Griffin's not going to be back, and we got to factor in too. I mean, moving to a 3-4 sounds like it's almost a guarantee that's going to happen. How are these guys going to fit in? But let's talk about Danielle Hunter. Personally, for me, he's someone I would look to trade. I love Danielle Hunter. He's young. He's very, very good. But the last 2 years, he just hasn't played. I still think there's a pretty hot market for him. You could probably get some decent value for him if you move on him from right now. And he's going to be very expensive moving forward. So I might actually look to move on and try to see what I can get for Danielle Hunter.
Well, and the big thing is, like you mentioned, the defense is going to be 3-4, so that's going to be a big change. That's going to have a lot to do with the moves they make. But offensively, I was very strict and got rid of a lot of guys.
Everybody.
But Danielle Hunter is not somebody I'm moving on from. I think the complete opposite. I think his value is probably at the lowest it's been just because he can't stay on the field. So Danielle Hunter is a guy they have to make sure they fit. If they're going to turn this defense around, Danielle Hunter has to be part of that because there's going to be guys that aren't going to be here. But Danielle Hunter has got to be.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a tough decision. I think it's a decision that's right up there with Kirk Cousins, what they do there. So to me, he's the Kirk Cousins of the defense as far as
how that is not very nice.
Well, the guy just hasn't played. I don't know if you can rely on him to be here moving forward. He's all of a sudden become injury prone and he's going to be cost a lot of money. So it's a decision you got to make. Yeah, he's a great player. Still got a lot of great football left in him, but I just don't know.
He's got a lot left in him, and it's going to be playing in purple because when he is on the field, he's one of the best out there. Defensive end, otherwise, DJ Wanham sounds like it's a no-brainer. They'll keep him whether he plays a ton. I mean, he's cheap.
Yeah,
he's young.
And let's talk about some of these young guys. We don't know what we have in Jarius Robinson. He's no guarantee to make the team with the new regime in here. They didn't draft him. We don't know what he brings to the table. What I'm concerned about, Kenny Willekes, Patrick Jones, how they fit in this 3-4, I don't know. I really don't know. Jones maybe could be that the defensive end, the 5 tech there, because he's a little bit bigger, really good against the run. But Kenny Willekes, I'd love to keep him. I don't know how he fits though.
Oh, you stand Kenny Willekes up outside and you rush his ass every damn play. I think Kenny Willekes would be fantastic in a 3-4 on the outside. Boom. I think Patrick Jones too. I think these guys fit it. I think they fit it. DJ Wanham. Well, they're not. Yeah, they got to try him at it.
Well, I agree. Wanham definitely. Wanham definitely. I think Jones is a little thicker though. He's a little stouter. I think he could be a hand in the dirt kind of guy playing outside on the line.
We've seen some big boys play on the outside and do well. Terrell Suggs was a big man.
He was. Let's go on to defensive tackle. Let's just start from below the depth chart again. James Lynch. How does he fit in a 3-4? I don't know. Love to keep him around though because he did show flashes. Sheldon Richardson's going to be gone. I just don't see them keeping him. Armon Watts, again, a valuable piece. I think he could play some nose. I think he could play some 5 tech in a 3-4. But Michael Pierce, Delvin Tomlinson, these are the questions. What are you doing with those two?
Pierce and Tomlinson, I don't know. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with these guys because they're expensive. I believe they do save some money if they cut these guys after June. But one of these guys are gone, and it's not going to be a trade. It's going to be straight up cut. We're going to eat some money on this, and so be it. I think they end up keeping one of them, and if I had to guess, it's going to be Tomlinson. Pierce just hasn't done really much of anything. You can't get on the field. James Lynch, on the other end, I think he's a guy you can bump out to the defensive end, possibly in that 3-4, probably get you 30 to 40 sacks next year alone. But wow. You mentioned Sheldon Richardson. Sheldon Richardson's old, and I don't care. I would love him back. I would love him back in this 3-4. I think he would be fantastic on that end.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he came here to play again with Zimmer, so I think he's kind of one of Zimmer's guys. So I don't know. I don't think he's going to stick around. I think he'll probably go maybe try to land with a team he believes will be a contender. Let's go back to Pearson Thompson. For me, I'm cutting them both. I'm getting rid of them. I was very underwhelmed by both of them. I understand Tomlinson could have some value in this new 3-4, but to me, I know Tomlinson like always graded high. I just never saw it watching games. Like, holy shit, Dylan Tomlinson's ripping it up today. It just never happened. And Michael Pierce, yeah, he had a good game against the Bengals, and it was pretty much nothing after that. So I would move on from both these guys and just see what we can find in the draft for free agency. Find that big old one tech who can just sit there and anchor. So I would move on from both of them.
Well, if PFF was around in the days of Pat Williams, it'd be the same thing. He doesn't really show up every game, but he does everything. He does all the dirty work.
Pat Williams showed up. He stuffed a lot of boys up the middle.
He did.
That came out really bad.
He did. He did stuff a lot of guys up the middle, but Tomlinson did too. Let's go to linebacker. Linebacker, it's going to be pretty much a clean sweep. Vigil's not coming back. We know that. Anthony Barr is not coming back. Kendricks is to me really the only one that's definitely coming back.
Yeah, I want Kendricks back. He's been the heart and soul of this defense for the last 2-3 years. Absolute stud, absolute horse. You look at the rest of this depth chart. I mean, I guess you'd keep Chaz Surratt around, let him compete. Blake, Lynch, Troy. I mean, these guys are going to compete for spots, but none of these guys are guaranteed to be on this roster. Nick Vigil definitely gone. Tough Borland, he'll probably be cut next week. I'm just kidding. I want to see what you do.
Cut loose on this defense so he can do what was born to do, and that's dominate at football.
Yeah. I don't know. I think these guys will be kept around, but I think they'll all get a chance. But I just don't see none of these guys are guarantees other than Kendricks.
Well, just remember, we do also have to have some special teamers in Blake Lynch, Troy Dye, Chaz Surratt fit that mold for sure. And we do need some depth because Vigil and Barr are gone. So we'll see. But like you said, right off the bat, this regime has no ties to any of these guys. So let's go to the secondary. Really, let's just stick with cornerbacks. The only cornerbacks that are coming back is Cam Dantzler, Harrison Hand, Chris Boyd.
Yeah. Mackenzie Alexander was complete ass. No even point talking about him any further. He was horrible and in stint number 2 with the Vikings. Patrick Peterson. Now, initially I kind of wanted him back, but I think I'd be fine in moving on from him at this point.
He ain't coming back. They're not going to have zero interest in bringing him back.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because he said, who was it he wanted to play for? Harbaugh, was it? I don't know.
I think he's pretty much said he wants to play for everybody that they've mentioned just so he can possibly have a job next year.
Yeah, and you mentioned—
I'd love to play for him.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But you mentioned that the linebacker depth. I think you look at the corners here too. I mean, Dantzler's probably going to end up being forced into a starting role because I just don't know if there's going to be anybody. I'm sure they're going to draft somebody high. They'll probably do a free agent vet who can maybe compete. But I think Dantzler's going to be a mix to start, which could be good, could be horrifying. We'll see what a different coach can do with him. But Harrison Hand, Chris Boyd, they give you some, I don't want to say experience because it's not very good, but they give you some depth there with a little bit of upside here. Chris Boyd, to me, a great special teamer. He had some moments in coverage, but then he had some really, 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 really bad moments. So I don't know. I think he competes. But again, a guy who's probably not guaranteed a spot on this roster moving forward.
No, Chris Boyd is probably meant to be at the bottom of a cornerback depth chart. Add some special teams value. But one other thing we got to keep in mind, we're pretty much getting rid of all these guys. Oh, yeah, he's not very good. He's not very good. This free agency class is ass. It is dog shit. So if we think we're just going to all of a sudden refill some of these guys, we are smoking something.
Filling a lot of guys here today. So corners, yeah, I'm thinking Dantzler, Hand, and Boyd likely be back with some new faces mixed in there as well. But everybody else can go. Moving on to safety here. Now there's you look at Miles Dorn, we already mentioned he'll be gone. Xavier Woods will be gone. He was okay. But then you look at Cameron Bynum, who I think is going to probably be a starter. Then the question comes with Harrison Smith. What do you do with Harrison Smith?
Harrison Smith.
Trade him, restructure him, keep him.
Well, I think it comes down to cutting or trading him. And I don't know what they're going to do. This is going to be the biggest question mark. This is kind of like the Adam Thielen we had on the offensive side of the ball where, he was Zimmer's guy. Is he going to want to restructure? Hell no, he's not going to want to restructure. He's still playing at a good level. He could be a guy that just maybe they get some sort of compensation that isn't worth it, but we're just moving on from him, and he goes somewhere to the Rams.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think you got to cut him. He hasn't been I wasn't really impressed with him last year. Not a lot of big plays that he was
Get this,
making.
Lepagus was not impressed with Harrison Smith.
I wasn't not
this
making
year.
his big plays, the game-changing plays he's been known to make throughout his career. Those have been lacking, I think, even until the year before. So Harrison Smith, not quite the same player he was. Yes, I love Harrison Smith. Yes, I love what he's done for the Minnesota Vikings organization over the years, and I think he will come back one day, sign a one-day contract, retire a Viking. But I think you got to move on. I'm going Cam Bynum and somebody new in the as a safeties next year for the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm not putting Harrison Smith's play on him. I'm putting it on trying to cover up for a horrible secondary. I think old Hitman was trying to do a little too much this year, and unfortunately, it made him look bad. But I would, if I had to guess, I would say he's moving on. Whether that's a trade, whether it's straight up cutting him, we shall see.
Yeah, it's sad to even think about it. It hurts the heart, hurts the balls. It maybe brings a little tear to your eye, but it's the truth. It's the fact of the matter. And one guy we haven't talked about yet is Josh Mattellus. Do you think he'll be starting next year?
I don't give a shit what Josh Mattellus is doing next year.
Yeah,
no, he's not going to start.
No, I was kidding.
Never.
No, it was.
Josh Mattellus, I think his days are numbered. But we said that about KJ Osborne last year, so Josh Mattellus probably come out and have 7 interceptions next year.
He might. He may be the best damn safety in the league.
Wow. There you have it. Let us know, guys, that we moved on that you would have kept or vice versa.
Before we hop out, let's just touch special teams quick. I think we feel pretty much the same page here as far as trying to do our best to get our kicker back and our punter. One of them is like restricted, correct? Right? Something like that.
The kicker. The kicker's got some weird like SFRA or something weird. Where basically he's ours if we want him.
And I've been lukewarm on Greg Joseph throughout the season, but after it was all said and done, I come to realization that no matter who else we go out and get, whether it's a rookie, a free agent, it's a Minnesota Vikings kicker. There's always going to be ups and downs. And I think he was 90-something% over the season. So I don't think you're going to get any better. You might as well just roll Greg Joseph again. And I love Jordan Berry. Love what he brought. Loved his big old hog of a leg. So I think you bring those guys back.
Absolutely. No one can argue that.
All right. That's it. That is our keep cut trade for the defensive side of the football from Minnesota Vikings. Let us know what you guys think, who you would cut, who you would trade, and who you would definitely want to keep. And until next time, remember this little nugget. A bolt of lightning is 6 times hotter than the surface of the sun.